Okay, we made it, I think. And we're live. So, oh my goodness, that was rough. I'm so sorry, you guys. And hopefully Bobby has it embedded right now, so that you guys can see us and we're live and all of that. Um, okay, I think he has it in there. Let me check really fast. Okay. Man, sometimes these just go wrong. I don't know why, but for some reason my internet just crashed in my house. And then I had, I'm actually connected through my cell phone, my, 4G cell phone connection. So hopefully it's a good enough connection, and hopefully we make it through this call on my cell phone.
Oh my.
Um, yeah. So yeah, hopefully it works and sticks around. Yeah, but yeah, then when I started to or tried to start everything again, it all messed up and I had to restart a whole new training page. So here we are on a fresh new screen. So hopefully that doesn't, throw too many people off. And but we're here. We're here and we made it. So, right. All right, I want to first off welcome everybody that's here. Uh, Glad you stuck around a few minutes for us, and I apologize for the craziness. We will go ahead and just jump right into this since, that's what we're here to do. So today we have a really awesome guest. We have Dawn Parrott with us. She is amazing at piping. She is the queen of piping, I would say. Just absolutely amazing. Recently, Dawn entered the Grand National Wedding Cake Competition in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you haven't heard of it, it's known as probably the best competition in the country. So it is very prestigious. She entered this competition this year, won grand champion. Yay, Dawn!
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. That is so cool. But her cake was spectacular. I just blown away. I don't have pictures right now, but I will pull some up for you guys to see of this cake because, oh my goodness, I sent a message to Dawn on this, and I said I think that is one of, if not the most amazing cake I've ever seen because
Thank you.
so spectacular, just amazing. So anyway, Dawn is here today. She's going to teach us some really cool things, and we've got a brand new product that's come out that Dawn has put out herself. It is an amazing product, and we're going to talk about that too today. So hope you guys are ready and excited about today's training, and yeah, let's get going. All right, so Dawn, first, before we get started onto the training portion, let's talk a little bit about you. Let's talk about how you started into cake decorating, what got you into piping, and where you plan to go with all of this.
Great questions. Well, I started cake decorating about, it's got to be about 13 years ago now. And like probably 90% of us that do this, we got into it because we thought, well, if I have kids, I want to do their party cakes and so on and so on. When I was little, my dad and my stepmom did party cakes for our kids, and that's kind of what got it started. So it started like everybody as a hobby, and then I found a bakery that I volunteered at, learned some more skills in buttercream, and then somehow got into Royal just a little bit, and slowly but surely I found out that that was something I really loved to work with because it's more versatile than most of the icings because it has that ability to get hard and shape and do things for me. So I kind of played with that more and more and found that obviously that was an area I wanted to stick into, and I stayed with it. And then I decided down the road to become a pastry chef. And the main reason for that was I wanted to earn the right to wear the jacket, to have the certification. But also I wanted to bring our cake and sugar side into the pastry world because they're actually two totally different worlds. Most pastry chefs don't know much about cake decorating. So it kind of evolved into that, and like I said, and I pretty much stuck with what I I loved, which again was the royal icing, but I got more involved with chocolate and sugar and pastillage. So that again, take those, work those into your cake. So now my cakes had more mediums to work with than before. So competition happened by accident. I kind of got pushed into my first one, very, very nervous. And I met Brahman Weber at that first one. And she was just a hoot and a half. And they were having the first Austin Cake Show a month after that competition. And she said, "You have to come and bring something." And let's just say the addiction started there. As we all know, it's very addicting once you compete.
It is.
As long as you have the good attitude about it, that's the big thing for me. I don't ever go thinking I'm going to place. I never think I'm going to do well. I always looked at it as a learning tool. And I tell my students the same thing. If you're going because you want to get better and you want to learn, then you're going for the right reasons. And that's why I've always competed. And to this day, I still do. I mean, I'm still completely in a fog over Oklahoma this year. I don't think it's sunk in. I don't know how long it's going to take to sink in. But it was kind of this was a year that this was supposed to be my retirement year. I wasn't actually going to go this year. I was going to retire last year, and my stepmom came from Canada to see me compete. So I had to do another cake. So I figured if I was going to do one this year, I was doing it on basically for me, and I wanted to do a cake that I'd always dreamed of doing, but hadn't dared try. But this was a total self-indulgent cake. I mean, this is the dream cake that I have probably always forever wanted to make. And I prayed if it doesn't, well, it doesn't. It's everything on it was royal icing. There's not one piece of fondant on that cake. Even the dummies are covered in royal. So it's 100% royalized.
Wow, it's amazing, amazing. Okay, I'm pulling up some pictures right here. I'm going to show you guys in just a second. Let's see.
It's sitting right behind me right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's in a box right behind me.
But yeah, I saw your box. That's really cool. I should have done something like that with my competition pieces because they're gone now,
Most
which
of
is
mine
sad.
Most of mine are too. I finally broke them all down, and you can only keep them for so long. But this is one I knew I was going to want to keep. So it's still not 100% right. I have to get a piece of mirror or something cut for the back because the doors can't fit back on because of my board. So I've got to, MacGyver the back of the box.
Okay, I've got the pictures here. Let's pull these up and find where I am. Okay, take a second here. I should have had this ready before. But okay, so here we go. These are the pictures of her cake. Absolutely amazing. And we're going to go through and look at the detail of these because they are so amazing. Okay, so look at that. Look at how cool that is. I mean, this is all piped and all royal icing, right?
They're actually characters from Shakespeare plays. It's 5 different couples from Shakespeare's plays. They actually came from a neighbor of mine has a set of plates, and she brought them over and said, "Oh, you should try this," and that's how the whole cake started.
Wow. It is incredible. And look at this. I mean, the precision, everything is so clean, and it's just spectacular.
I do
Love
love me some royal.
Well, and you had so much practice and so much, time to work on this. It's so incredible. I mean, every bit of this is just amazing. And look at that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was
This-
the only time I think I've ever held my breath.
Oh my gosh, how did you possibly put that on there? To me, it's like,
It was
oh man.
crazy. I typed it on the bottom half of a plastic egg, and then I had to let it dry and lift it up. And it's in a tip 1. I didn't even do it in 0 because the cake is heavy. So tip 0s were only on string work and double zeros. Everything else is a 1 and 1.5 because this is a heavier cake. But it still looked very delicate. But oh my goodness, that thing flexed and moved the whole time. I literally almost turned purple putting that on.
Oh my gosh. That would just give me a heart attack. And here are these characters again. And this is actually what you're going to be showing today, is how to do this pressure piping.
Yeah, not the characters though. We're going to look at the middle tier where the birds and the ribbons and the flowers in the middle tier.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So like these right here.
Yeah, these little birds and the ribbons in the middle. To show you just how simple it is to take. It's so much easier than everybody thinks it is. And then you take that technique that I'm going to show you today, and you can make all the other things. Basically, everything you do with piping is pressure. It's all about your pressure and it's about your control. And then the little C's on the top, I'm going to show you how I made those. They're a lot easier than you think they are. They're actually quite simple. And on the top of the, I call it the I in the middle there.
Uh-huh. That was so amazing. That to me blew my mind. I was like, how did she do that? I don't even know how she did that.
Believe it or not, well, it's all line work. All the bottom is the line work. But on the top, I was looking for something to finish it. And actually, what I did was the ribbon that's between the birds, I took one and turned it upside down and attached it on the top. And then the little pieces in the middle are actually piped, I think they were zero strings, piped flat on a piece of acetate, and I had to pick them up and put them on there one at a time.
Oh, okay.
Let's
It-
just say we broke probably 20 for every one that got on there.
oh man, I bet. I bet. Wow, that is just so amazing. Yeah, this picture right here was the one that I was like, wait a second. How did you do that part?
And
Everything
then
else
the
I
thing
could,
that drove
I
me
mean,
crazy too, because that was the hardest. Because unfortunately, with this kind of work, I mean, I've got books from the 1920s and 1930s, and there's pictures. They're bad pictures, and but it's like you look at them for inspiration, but there's no manual to go to for this. So it was really hard to try to find things that match the feel of this cake and keeping it in with the right period as well. I was trying to keep it like it was done in the 1920s, like it was that kind of style.
Mhm.
And so this cake was really hard to design because of that.
Well, you did an amazing job. It is absolutely spectacular. All right, so let's go ahead and we will uh, jump into this part here and let you go ahead and show us how to do all of you said the birds is what you'll work on.
I'm going to show you the birds, talk about the birds and the little ribbons and the C's. And the first thing I'll show you guys, I actually got smart and got colored paper this time, was hopefully you guys, it's going to be hard with this camera, unfortunately. See, I hand draw my templates. Can you guys hopefully can see those? And then I'm going to get a bit of glare from my window. So you can see I've just got these little lines here, and that's done at a 1/2 inch. So you just take a ruler, draw a 1/2 inch line. This is how you're going to keep everything the same size. And then the bird ones, you can again draw a 1/2 inch. I did 3/4 to make them just a little bit bigger because I don't want the wings to overpower the bird. And you can see my difficult ribbons. They're just like a drop. You're basically going to do it like a drop string, little tails for the side. And then this is an example of the C, like you saw on the top edge of the cake, the ones that were put together.
Yeah.
So when you pipe them, they become pieces like this. Put some color behind it. Okay?
Cool. And you've done like double lines of pipe
You
on
actually
that?
triple. You pipe two. You're going to pipe two, let it dry, flip it over, and pipe one on the back side. Okay?
Ah, so it gives a
That
nice
way it's
finish.
nice and strong, but it also gives, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to pick it up. But what it does, it gives you like a depth. One piece is further out than the other two, so it gives you some really nice movement. It shows better in the cake picture. Um, so, so to do these, it's like I said, it's not difficult. It's actually really, really simple. I'm going to do them because of the size of this bird. I think I'm going to do them probably in a tip 2 or 3. I would recommend to you guys a 3. Um, Tip choice, I think we talked about that the last time I was on. The one thing to me, I find a lot of cake tools are sort of gimmicky, and I hate to say that, but they kind of are. But one place to spend your money is in tips. You want to have a good set of tips. I highly recommend PME, or if you can get your hands on it, do Bechamel. Bechamel are very hard to come by. Very few people have them left, but if you can get them, trust me, buy them. They're an absolute awesome. Okay, I'm going to try and tilt this down a little. Let's see if we can get rid of some of the glare. And I'm going to try and pipe backwards. This is going to be a lot of fun. So when you do your wings and your birds, you're going to notice I've drawn them on each angle because we have one bird facing one way and one facing the other way. So think about where you're putting it, what it needs to look like. So I have two birds that look at each other. So we need them on opposite ways. So for the wings, You're literally just going to, maybe I'll start, trying to see where my hand is. Okay, you're going to let it pipe, let it build. Keep your pressure, you're lightening your pressure as you go down. So you want to end by that line and then start a little bit shorter, meet down, a little bit shorter again. And my pressure is lightened. So you can see, hopefully you can see. Am I able to see that?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. It's not really the greatest picture, but you can see how it's got a graduation. Now when they're piped, they look like this. Where's my hand? So this is a piece that's already dry, which we're going to put on later. And I've got a colored background to put everything on so we can see it better. So that's pretty much it for the wing. It's like I said, it's all about your pressure. So you're going to hold and squeeze. Try not to shake your hand too much. You're going to squeeze, 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 let it build. As you start moving, when you get closer to the end, you stop squeezing so that you're going to have a nice little tail. We want to pull it down like a teardrop. So we're doing elongated teardrops for that one. Now, tighten my bag. For the bird, I'm going to try and do this where I can see too. I'm trying to work on, yeah, good, this guy. So again, make sure my tip is clean. You're going to squeeze, 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 let it build into a nice ball. And then I'm going to pipe his body. So I'm going to pipe a teardrop, let it build, moving along, stopping at a point. So can you see it little? So see, it's real simple, and it's all the same tip. Now, if you want his body a little puffier, you could have made a bigger tip for the body. So you could have went, say, if you use a 3 on the wings, use a 4 on the body, or maybe a 5, whatever's more comfortable for you. I've made these guys as small as a 1/4 inch. So if you want them small, you're going to use little tiny tips, probably a 1 for the wing and a 1.5 or a 2 for the body. So think about where you're putting it. But that's pretty much it for the bird and the wing. So what you're going to need is 2 wings and 1 body for each bird. And we're actually going to pipe little beaks and stuff on there, and I'll show that on the actual color, which will be easier for everybody to see. So while I have a 2.5 on here, I'm going to go to a tip 4 really quick, because I'm going to do the ribbons. I want them a little bigger. They actually look more difficult. Again, they're 3 rows of piping. So with that cake, with the cake, you know, our theme was 50 shades of cake. So what I had was 50 shades or layers of royal icing. There's actually 50 layers on my cake. So the birds, for example, were 4 layers because you had one set, like 2 different in the body and then the beak and stuff. So that was 4 layers. So for my ribbons, they were 3 layers. So what I just did was I'm going to pipe. Let's see if I'm in the right spot here. So you're going to pipe a number 4. It's a lot easier when you do this flat, by the way, everybody. I would recommend doing it flat.
So it can just kind of drop down on.
Yeah, so like gravity. It's much easier. Normally when I'm piping all this stuff, I have it flat like this, and I just follow my pattern. So I'll show you one. Try to see, I'm in my camera. You can see it. So if you're using gravity, because when you use gravity, you're actually going to have perfect strings with no flatness. So letting it fall, and then you can let it fall perfectly on your pattern. Okay, oops. Okay, so you can see this one's a little bit puffier because I use gravity. So now what I'm going to do for the little curves for the side, you do the same thing. You're going to want to let it fall. And hang on, we do 1 for each side. I've got these pretty curved. You don't have them quite this curvy, but whatever you think your little taper looks like. So with those done, I'm going to go down to 1 size smaller. So if I did that with a 4, you're going to want to get a 3 next. I think I have mine.
So you've done all of this with a 4 so far?
No, the birds I actually did with a 3, but you can do them with a 4. So far, the ribbons I've done all with a 4. When you go down to your next size with a 3, what I do is I pipe literally right next to it on the inside. Okay, so you're going to let it fall. I'm going to do one and show you. Let it fall so it touches. You want it right on the inside. I usually take my time to make sure they're touching, but I want it to fall a little bit lower then
Could
the
you
other
raise
one.
the board just a little bit when you do that? I know that's going to be really tough for you to do.
Yeah. But if you could see that, see how I got two on the one side, see how they're different?
Uh-huh.
But now, I gotta try to figure out where my camera sits. Nope, nope. Okay.
Yeah, about there.
About here? Is that good? Can you see that?
Yeah, that's
It's so
perfect.
hard to do it backward.
I
So
know, I'm
then,
so sorry.
okay. So then we're gonna let it fall again. Gonna pipe. I usually try to get it to touch that other icing. And let it fall so it falls right in front of, but touching that other one.
Okay.
Okay, there. So now we're going to do the same thing. You can do the inside or outside. It doesn't matter. I just generally always go to the left, probably because I'm left-handed. And pipe the same thing on the insides of the tails. Now, if they don't touch, don't worry. Get your damp brush, which is our best friend in piping. And you can make sure, just give it a gentle, towards the bottom, a gentle touch. And you can slide it so it touches. And if there's a little tiny gap, I don't know if you can see that. It's okay because we're actually going to pipe one size smaller right where the two meet. That's the
Okay.
final step for these guys. I'm going to change now to a tip 2. So I've done a 4, 3, and now a 2. Find my number 2. Try to put them in order. Okay, tighten your bag. And remember when you pipe, never to have more than your hand can handle. That's the number one thing everybody struggles with is they overfill their bags, and you don't want to be hurting your hands. Okay, am I in the spot? So now, with your number 2, you're going to pipe right where the two pieces meet. Again, if you can do it more straight. I wonder if I get down. No. I'm trying to figure out the best spot where this can be seen. No. I think I have to stand. Maybe that's what I need to do. You tell me when you can see it. Are you able to see this one? No.
Come up just a little bit more. There
Right
you
here?
go.
Okay.
Yep.
So now I'm going to let this fall literally right where those two meet. So I've got a bit of height here. Okay. I went a little far, so I'm just going to clean that up. But hopefully you'll get to see, I don't know if you're able to see that height or not. Can you see that?
If you raise it up just a
I'm going to
little
show
bit.
you when I'm finished. A lot easier. Yeah, I'll probably put my black shirt behind it so you can see this one. Okay, so you can see it's got layers. Can you see how one looks a little taller in the middle? Does that show?
It's pretty whited out.
Oh, okay.
If you put your hand in front of it, that might actually bring out a little bit of the detail.
Yeah. I figured my dark shirt would help. Let's see. No, now I'm out of screen here. I don't know if that helps at all. Does that see? Can you see that?
Nope.
No, it's hard because
In fact, I
I
think that if you had a lighter paper, it might actually work better.
really on a white one.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of weird that way. The contrast. There
Let's see. Okay, so there,
you go. Yeah.
there we go. There's the piece. Now, can you see how it's a little bit layered? Does that show? It's hard to see in my camera because it's an inch big.
No, I can see it totally. Yeah.
Okay, good. So that actually gives a layered effect. Now, if you wanted it to be deeper, say you wanted to make it look like it's a draping piece of fabric that's going to hold flowers, you could pipe your 4 and your 3, and then on the top do another 3, and then a 2, and then a 1 on the just on this top one. So this would make it deeper. And then if you wanted to put little piped flowers or something in there, it would look more like a piece of fabric. Does that make sense? Which I'm probably
Mhm.
going to pipe some to show anyway. So sorry, I lost my handy dandy paintbrush. Let me grab it. I heard something earlier. Okay, so then so this pattern you can see is slightly different from the other one in that I made them a bit longer. So again, I draw all my templates, just freehand them. So this obviously is what the piece would look like that was on the top of that above the birds.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And what I did was pipe the whole thing twice in a tip 3, and then I went back over the whole thing with a tip 2 and let it dry. Once it dried, I took it off and flipped it over, and then piped the tip 2 on the back.
Okay.
That was for the main centerpiece. So then I had pieces on the side. So what I did was just pipe the 2 center C's, not the outside. And those 2 kind of flanked the side of the one big one, which gave me that big effect. But this is the same piece that I made the butterfly out in the bottom. It was the exact same piece. So that butterfly in the bottom is identical to the piece in the second tier. Because one of the things I like to do with my cakes is if I've got flowers somewhere, I need to bring them somewhere else on the cake. So with the C's, I wanted to use them again somewhere else. It's all about balance for me. I have this thing about balance. So, pardon me. I'm going to try to figure out how I'm going to be able to work on the turntable with this camera because this one doesn't allow me to flip. So
Yeah,
let's.
we actually, for those of you that are wondering how, we actually had Dawn planned on using her tablet, and for some reason, I'm not sure if it was an issue because of the issue with the Hangout or what, but it wasn't working for some reason. So
I
this
can't
is
get
kind of
upload
her
it.
trying to figure this out last minute.
Yeah, it doesn't want to. No, I was hoping to see if I can maybe get it to work, but it won't let me do it. Anyway, so now we're going to finally get creative. So I think what I'm going to have to do is probably turn the computer around a little, and I'll move this. So bear with me 1 second.
No,
Anybody have any
while you're
questions while
doing
I'm
that,
moving around?
while you're
Sorry?
doing, you could talk about your turntable
Oh,
because that's pretty huge. Um, so Don has created this awesome turntable for pipers. Um, you, if you've ever tried to pipe on the side of a cake, it's really difficult to do. Um, and so what you use is a tilting turntable. There is one out there that I know of, maybe,
go
but
ahead.
they're not the quality that you would need to do what you need to do. And so Dawn, being frustrated with all of this, I'm sure, decided to create her own, and it became a very big thing. Very, uh, I'm guessing that some people started requesting it. So you want to explain the story behind your turntable, Dawn?
Sure. Well, as you said, well, a couple of things always bothered me was that the only thing tilting on the market was a plastic tilting turntable. Plastic's not the strongest as we know, but the other problem I had was I always saw the ones that were available in England years ago, but nobody makes them anymore. And the biggest thing for me was the brackets because the cakes, there was nothing to stop the cakes from sliding off the cake. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
off your turkey. So I didn't want the cake to move around while I'm working. And it's not just meant for pipers. As you can see, it's just a regular 90-degree turntable as well. But the advantage of this turntable is this turntable sits almost 11 inches off the table. And the reason I did that was because there's nothing worse than hunching your back and your neck when you're
Mm.
piping. You tend to get very tired, very sore shoulders. So when you sit in a chair and you put a cake on here, this is perfectly eye level. There's no more hunched over. There's no more stress in your shoulders. Anyone who's tried piping knows if you're stressing your shoulders, you're not going to have clean piping. So the first thing I tackled was the height. Then I started thinking about all the different angles, and I was thinking about that other turntable. So I told my husband is a designer drafter, so luckily I had poor guy. He's been working in our garage. These are literally handmade by us, and I mean literally handmade. Our garage sees us more than anything. So we get them cut, and then we had the brackets made. So we designed the brackets so they could slide. And I'm going to show you kind of a little bit how the brackets go. I'm going to tilt this so you can see. So you can see what the top looks like. Okay. So you can see there's 4 brackets. And these brackets, you just loosen the nut and they slide back and forth. So this would be hold up to about a 10-inch board. If you have bigger than 10 inch, then what you do is take the bolt off. Let's pull this off. You take the bolt off and you turn it around the other way. And what you're going to do is put your bolt in here. And this will hold from 11 inches out to a 16-inch cake board. So you can hold from 3 inches up to 16 with these brackets. So that's a pretty good variety of sizes for most people, what they're going to use every day. It's made of solid hard maple and metal. So this can hold multi-tiered cakes. This is not for, just, a lot of people think I've made it just for dummy cakes. It's not. It's very strong. It's going to hold a lot of weight. So with the brackets then in place, that allows me to do what we're looking at now, which is the tilt. But like I said, it's meant to be, one of the other big things that we worked on really hard was to get it smooth. It spins completely smooth. It doesn't make a sound. It's very, very smooth. It actually spins on some metal balls. It's got some nice collars in place to stop this from rocking. Easy to take apart. It actually lifts off. You can take your brackets off, take this pole off, and you can store it in a box. Cleaning, just your wet soapy dish rag, and then I gave a sample of the cake play. They have their the balm for their wooden rollers. That's what I recommend using this. But if you don't want to use that, you can just use the food grade mineral oil, just like a chopping block. You're going to treat it just like a chopping block. So if it starts to feel like it's getting a bit dry, just go ahead. Go ahead. Whenever time I finish working with it, I wipe it and I make sure if it starts to feel dry, just go ahead and put a little bit on there, rub it in, let it sit. So again, of course, you've got your everyday. So the ones in England had these rotating they actually look more like a clip, and the one I didn't like about that is they pulled out on a spring. I don't know if anyone has seen them, and they shoot back really easily. So I didn't want to go that route. So we decided to do our own with these brackets I in now. And if you don't want to use the brackets, what I always do when I put mine away is I put these brackets back in upside down, so the hook fits perfectly on the side here for storage. That way you don't worry about losing them. They're tucked down out of the way. You might not always need the bracket. But the big thing was the tilting. So this is your little extra, and I've picked 3 angles. I think you can see them pretty good from your screen there now, I hope. So you can see there's 3 holes. So I did a 20 degree, a 45 degree, and a 60. So 20 is what you're probably going to use more for real cakes, which it is right here. So when you pick the one you want, you take your bolts, you put it back inside, and you can put your butterfly nut on there, and this locks it. So this way, this is not going to move back and forth. One of the other things I decided was, you'll notice that the whole thing turns, not the round piece up here. That was deliberate, because if I'm piping something on an angle like strings, I don't want the key to keep turning. So I'd rather take my board and just move the board. So that was done deliberately because I want the cake in place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
By that a little. It's a little more work when you have a square cake because you literally had to pick the cake up and just readjust it. But that's better than having the cake turn. As you know, you've done string work, so you can appreciate a cake not moving.
Yeah, and you know what? So I don't even have a tilting turntable. And I did a cake recently for my my sister-in-law and my little brother. They just recently got married. And I so wish that I had something to tilt because my piping just wasn't as clean, wasn't as good as I know it can be. And it drove me a little bit crazy. I was like, oh, it was good, but it wasn't like, yeah, good, And so I definitely need to invest in one of these because it's the perfect way to, angle your cake so that you can get that piping on there, and let it drop and fall like you're supposed to, and string work, I've just always kind of jerry-rigged some way to get my cake to, yeah, it's really annoying. So yeah, this right here is so amazing. It is so amazing. For those of you guys that are wanting to look at this closer and purchase one of these, this website right here at the bottom of the screen, www.cakefood.com, Dawn Parrott. That will take you over to Dawn's website where you will be able to find her turntable, along with all the instructional videos that she has for doing string work. And this is something we should have mentioned at the beginning, and we didn't. But if you guys are wanting to, there are Dawn's videos. We've done a training before where we have talked about these videos. They are amazing. They teach all of this stuff on string work, all the different types of string work, and she goes into real detail on how to do all of this stuff, which is really amazing. We have physical DVDs on our website, on our marketplace. So if you want a physical DVD, you can go to our marketplace, and I'll put up a link for that in just a minute. Or if you want a digital version that you can download and have on your computer, then you can find those on her website. And there is a little code that you type in, and it's cake foo, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, if you type in cake foo as you're purchasing, that will, let her know that you guys got it from here, and make sure you do that. And we were doing a discount, right?
Yeah,
On the,
I believe it was on the physical DVDs. We were doing, if they wanted to buy all six, basically they get one for free. So
that's
they could
right.
buy six and get one
That's
free.
right. So yeah, the digital DVD or the digital version, they're really cheap already. So so you really don't have to worry about that. But if you want the physical DVD, if you buy the whole set, you buy 5, get 1 free. There's 6 of them. So yeah, really, really great deals. Really amazing quality instruction. I mean, you're learning from the grand champion. So I highly recommend them. So
And we're
yeah.
on, especially with the turntables, we were going to offer free shipping if they let us know that they're coming from Cake Foo, which is about
That's
a
right.
$30 savings.
That's right. So on the turntable, anything you purchase today or whatever, make sure you type in the coupon code CakeFoo, and that'll let her know that you got them from CakeFoo. And like she said, free shipping on the table if you purchase it with that coupon code CakeFoo. So,
Cool.
hey, this
So
is
should
awesome.
we add some stuff on here?
What's that?
Should we add some stuff on here so you can see the birds and everything now?
Yeah,
Maybe.
absolutely, absolutely. Oh, and right, really fast, before we get into that, in just a minute, I have to add in one more thing. We are doing a giveaway at the end on these videos, so make sure you stick around. They're really awesome, and I highly recommend that you stick around because it's worth it. So okay, all right. So let's go back to the birds.
We're getting back to our birds. So now I'm just taking the ones that have piped. I'm just putting a little bit of icing on the back, and I'm going to put one roughly in place where I think I'm going to want it to sit. And then I'm going to take my ribbon, and the same thing I'm piping. Let's see. I'm piping a little bit of icing on the back just to make sure it's going to stick. And now you notice I do. You could just do just the ribbon first if you wanted, and then put your birds in place after. Let's go. Almost like making a happy face. So, and then I need a bird facing the opposite direction, which is what we talked about a minute ago. So again, just a little bit of icing. Oh, no, I messed up. Pardon me 1 second. I'm going to take this little bird off. I forgot to give him his wings.
Oh.
Little thing can't fly. So I need to put a set of wings on there first. Because remember, there are 3 parts. We talked about this earlier.
The layers, yeah.
3 parts. So we want to put a wing on there. Now put the birdie in place. That's what happens when you try to talk and pipe at the same time. And then I'm going to take his other wing and just attach on his body. So when you see him sideways, I don't know if that's going to show, but you can see, or if you want them to really be noticeable that they're separate wings, you can change them so that they're different directions. Does that show? So then this other side, for the same thing, you're going to pick your wings that are going the other direction. I'm going to put them up a little bit, giving room for the bird. My wings up a little. And then get my little bird and put him in place. And then my other set of wings. And I'm just putting the icing down towards the bottom of my wing because I just want this part to sit on his body. So you can see how people are thinking these are so much more in depth than they are. A little bit heavy. There we go. So then we got our, yeah, I'm going to put some tails on my ribbon. So again, a little bit of icing down my little ribbon tail. Attach that. You can see, like, simplifying things. I think a lot of times we tend to get caught up in trying to overdo things instead of simplifying. So see how quick and easy this really already looks like a little bird with ribbons, holding these little ribbons. I'll put a couple little tails on there because I can.
Looking so cute.
And also this is a little bit of support. So now if I got a little bit too much icing, remember our best friend is a damp paintbrush. Go back in. Always think about cleaning up your work. I'm always looking for where I start and stop any icing, making sure I don't have any points.
Well, and especially when you're working with royal icing, because if you don't clean it up now, it's going to dry and you're not going to be able to clean it up later.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I'm just putting a little bit of icing just to kind of blend into my ribbon here so it doesn't look like I've left it as a gap. You know, they might not necessarily meet up exactly right, but it's nice so that you don't have a gap in there. So I'm just putting a little bit of icing in here.
And is that just a tip 1?
This is still my tip 2. I'm going to go to a 1 shortly because I'm going to show you how I put the beak and everything on these little guys. I'm just going to fill in this little area. And when I'm using my brush, I'm also trying to keep the same shape as the ribbon, so I'm flattening it on the lower pieces and keeping it up higher, so leaving a mound on top if I can so it looks like it's a continuous pipe. Because once it dries, you won't realize it wasn't done with the same tip if you're careful with your work. I'm leaving that little ridge in the middle and taking off the excess. But it's always nice to blend them. You can see when you blend it in, it looks so much better than when I had those gaps on there. Now for his beak, again, super simple. You're just going to decide where you want his beak to be. And I did it like he was sideways, so you could see his upper and his lower beak when I did mine. So let's see where we are. God, I wish we had a Zoom.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm going to squeeze and then pull away while I'm squeezing so it gives me a point. I'll put this close to the screen shortly. So that way it gives me this little beak. And then don't forget to give him a little eye. You know, it would be really scary if we didn't give him an eye. And what I always do is go back as these start to set up a little. If you want his beak to sit a bit stronger, once your icing starts to set just a little bit, you can go back and move it right in the middle to make sure it sits where you want it. So I'm just going to pipe the other one. We're going to pipe and pull away as I'm piping. Make sure they're touching. So I'm going to try and show you how close these are in a second. Oh, you gotta forget to give him his eye. And you can even go back and do the same little points I did on my cake. I went back because I had the wings a little smaller, and I went back on their tail and gave them little points in the tail. I forget which bird. I think it's a swallowtail or something like that. But you can see how quickly this could add to anything. And then I had my drop string work that went over the head. Now, if you want to, remember we talked about making these taller earlier? I'm going to go back to my tube real quick. And I'm just going to build this up just a little because I've got a few of the flowers left, and I wanted to show you if you want to put flowers inside here. So I'm going to use my tip 2, and I'm going to go on top of that last line that I piped, just at the middle. I'm not going to do it on all of them. So if you're already on your cake, I'm letting it like a drop line and hit right in front. So I want to make sure I'm on that same line. So I'm going to build it up a little, so I'm going to do one more time. So I'm touching the bird so I don't have a gap. and letting this pull. I'm kind of turning my hand as I go so that it's falling right on top of the other one. So that gave me a little more depth into it to make it look a little deeper. So now when I go to put anything inside there, it looks more like a piece of fabric draping versus a ribbon. So I've got a bunch of little flowers. I'm trying to see on that way you can see them. You said white works best. I'm trying to remember what works well. So I've got just some little toothpick roses that I did on toothpicks. So they're quite little. So I've got those. I've got some little drop flowers, just a little variety. I'm just going to put some icing in the center and then sit them. I'm going to pretend like he's this little basket of flowers versus on the bottom. So I've got some little drop flowers, little 4 petals. They look like hydrangeas.
So it looks like the birds are picking up this beautiful blanket of flowers.
Exactly. Really cute. Just super soft, super cute. You know, a little different. Also a throwback to cakes of this era. This is the kind of stuff they would have had on there. I've got some little daisies that I cracked in half. So those of you who pipe, I don't know if you pipe, a lot of you pipe flowers, it's not something people do as much anymore. But if you break them, don't throw them away. Half flowers are fantastic. I get really excited when I have a half flower because you always have a space. You just need a partial.
Yeah, you need that petal gone, dang it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, and I had to try to crack them and it didn't work. And again, you can use round tips for leaves. People don't think you can. I love making leaves with a round tip. I try to use one tip as much as I can. Basically, you just pipe a teardrop as a leaf, and I'll show you how you can finish it. So you just let it build like a teardrop and then pull away. And at first glance, they automatically look like a leaf, but you can actually go back with a spatula and put a little line in the middle.
Oh.
But you can see that from a distance, they automatically look like leaves. Let's see if we can get them up there. But I know you said it washes out. I never even realized that it would wash out on this color. But it does hold in place. It gives it a really cute effect. Of course, what I do, I don't have my spatula handy, so I'm going to use my paintbrush and just with a damp brush put just a streak in the middle. And then again, that's just going to make it look like a leaf. So it's a great way to, those of you that teach or any of you that are in production work, like I said, I'm all about simplifying it. You can see how fast, really, you saw how quick it was to pipe these birds. One night you don't have a cake, you could pipe a whole bunch of birds, a whole bunch of the C's, whatever, put them in a container, they don't go bad. So when you have that cake or that last minute request, you could do something that would really wow them, that really didn't take you a whole lot.
Yeah.
So with the, when I did the C's, unfortunately I forgot to put the middles in these ones. But to do the butterfly, you just take the 2 biggest ones and you're going to put some icing and put them together like this. And then automatically looks like a butterfly. You fill the body in, or like I did it with flowers in the middle. So you think outside the box. It doesn't have to be one particular way. You can really kind of go outside the box. But for the way I did the side on mine is I had this one attached to the edge of my cake, and then I put some icing right here, and then I attached this one on an angle and let it sit on the cake as well. So the effect really was it came out on an angle. Like, I'm trying to see which way for you for the angle. It's not showing. So it would stick out to the side instead of being straight. It kind of came out to the side. So there was another one over here. So it was a 3-layered piece that hung off the side of the cake. I might be able to show you. Let's see. Let me take this guy off. Does anybody have any questions or anything about it?
We have a few. Most of it is questions on the turntable itself.
Okay.
We have someone asked, do you ship to Australia?
I do. We just shipped to Australia actually not very long ago. We do. We are now in the process of getting ready to ship it everywhere. We were having issues because of the price. Unfortunately, it is a little expensive to get to Australia, but we got it down lower than original. So what they just need to do is email me their address, and I can get them an exact quote on shipping. We just sent them to Canada, Australia, and I'm quoting one for the Netherlands right now. So we're trying to get them as best we can for all the different locations. But I want to show you real quick just how this sits. These would sit up on the edge of the cake. Sideways. There we go. So you could see. Let's see if I can get something in the background.
Just that right there gives such an amazing look that, I mean, it looks so technical and so difficult to achieve.
And yet it was so simple. That's what I mean. Like, I think
Blow the minds of people.
I think a lot of us tend to overthink our cakes. But like here, even this little one. Look at that. Look at how cute. I wish I should put some icing. Let me put some icing and sit the little one up there because you'd be able better to see it without my fingers in the way. So usually it'll grab on both spots. So sit in the top and the side without too much pressure. But you can see, look at that. Isn't that cute? So
It is.
you can even do drop strings in between or little clumps of flowers in between the insides and then do the birds underneath here with the ribbon. Super sweet. But again, something that's more over the top that people wouldn't expect, but it didn't really take you a lot of work. It just looks like it was a lot of work.
You know, and I think that that's a really big thing right now is, you know, we want, especially as cake decorators that are doing cakes for clients, I think a lot of people just throw out the idea of piping because they think, oh, it's going to take forever, it's just, nobody's going to pay for that, you know, but really, if you find a high-end client that, you know, wants something really special, you can convince them that piping is such an amazing thing. You charge a little bit more, not, you know, it doesn't have to be that much more. And these little things right here that may not take, you know, forever, but will give such an amazing effect that people will, you know, it looks really classy. And so you find a nice, classy high-end bride, you're good to
Well,
go.
I always challenge people. I always say to people, you know what? You get a cake and get all your molds and all the stuff you use, and you think that are faster. I'm going to get a cake with some buttercream and a bunch of piping tips. Let's see who's done first. And I guarantee you I will beat everybody. Piping is so much faster. It generally is so much more less work than the rest, but people have it in their mind that it's the opposite. So, you know, my whole goal since I started back at teaching is just to get people to pick up piping bags again. Because to me, that's the skill in what we do. And I think everyone should know how to pipe first.
I completely agree. Completely agree. In fact, I taught a little local. It was our church group, just the young women in the group. And last night we did a little cake decorating thing. It was like just introduction to cake decorating. So I taught them how to frost a cake, and then we talked about piping because to me that's one of the crucial parts of doing cake decorating. And if you don't know how to pipe, it's sad.
Very sad. It makes me so sad.
It makes me very sad too. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. I mean, this cake that I was doing for my brother and sister-in-law, I did actually think about the idea of doing like, you know, the really popular thing right now is the you know, lace, the edible lace.
Oh, yes.
But then I thought, you know, I can't get it custom the way I want it to be. And if I did get it custom, boy, that would be expensive. And, you know, and then I thought, well, molds, I guess I could make something work with molds to be a little more custom. But, and in the long run, I just thought, you know what? It will be so much easier and so much more, you know, personal and elegant if I just pipe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did, and I was so happy with the results. And I just thought, you know, this is exactly the way it should have been. And you know, trying to supposedly cut corners, it didn't, you know, didn't seem to be as much of a cutting corners and making it easy as it really appeared to be.
And I think that was what started me in piping, is I found piping faster. You know, and those of you, I'm sure lots of people listening right now are production bakers, or they, you know, they sell cakes from their homes or whatever, and it is about the time, because 90% of us don't charge for our time. So you need to get fast to actually make it worth your while and make some money. but I think people just assume that it's going to be longer or harder, but yet it's faster. And I think the thing about piping for me is it's just all about practice. I mean, truly, it's about practice. And if you settle just a tiny bit of time aside, and if you're struggling, like contact myself, contact some of the other people that you know decorate. We're always happy to help and give you tips. Sometimes it's just realizing that one thing you're doing wrong and you switch it. Like I've had people come here and it was just the number one thing I tell people, and maybe people will make notes of this today, and it was kind of an epiphany last year for me even, was when I was teaching, you have to be able to watch people pipe to help them. And the one thing I noticed, and I asked people, what are you looking at when you pipe? And about 95% of the people told me they're looking at their tip. And I said, no, you never watch your tip, you watch your icing. Your icing is the only thing that can tell you to go faster or slower or use more pressure. You have to watch your icing. That's the only thing that can tell you. And once people started doing that, it clicked. So the next time everybody pipes, look at your icing. Because if it's starting to swirl a little bit, you're using too much pressure or you're going too slow. And if you're trying to do an S or a C and it's got straight lines, then you're going too fast. So you either increase your pressure or slow down. But the icing is the only thing that can tell you what to do. So keep your eye on your icing and not your icing tip.
That's a really good tip. That really is a good tip, huh? Okay, so for those of you guys that are interested, this cakefood.com/Dawn DVD, that is where you'll get the physical DVDs. That'll take you to our marketplace where you can buy the physical DVDs. And again, it's buy five, get one free, which is, $20 off. Really awesome. So, yeah. And then, of course, check out Dawn's website. Definitely go buy one of those turntables. They are amazing. They are amazing.
Anybody wants to travel, I'm going to be going to Las Vegas next month.
Oh, how fun! Makes me
back to there. I'm going back to teach there for a week, the first week of December, the 1st through the 5th. So actually the 29th through the 5th, I'll be up there. I'm going to go to Nilda's Cake Shop. So anybody who's wanting a fun weekend or anything getaway, it's a great place to go. We're going to do a lot of piping classes this time and some chocolate classes. So.
Very nice. Yeah, I've taken a class there before, and it's a great place. They're very friendly and good instructors too, great teachers. All right, so let's get started on the giveaway because it's going to take a few minutes. So what I want you guys to do is, here I'm going to pull up this website again, the cakefood.com/Dawn Parrott. That is going to take you over to Dawn's website, and that is where our giveaway is going to come from. So once you're there, I want you to look at the page. And I want you to tell me, okay, it's in the description, I guess a little part about Dawn on the lower corner. We're going to ask you a question from there, and there's a number in there. It is how long has she been going to Tulsa's Oklahoma State Sugar Art Show? Since the year of. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take that answer. Once you find that answer, email it to me, Amelia@cakefood.com, AMELIA, or you can do cakefood.com@gmail.com. It all goes to the same place. So go ahead and email that answer over, and we're not going to go with the fastest hands. We're gonna pick a number. I know that a lot of people have an issue with a little bit of a lag, and they miss out. So we're gonna go ahead and pick a number this time instead of picking the fastest hands, because
awesome.
We want to be fair, right? All right, so what we're going to be giving away, I should have talked about this at the beginning. Anyway, we're going to be giving away an entire set of Dawn's DVDs. So that's huge. Plus, 2 more people kind of our runner-ups to the winners, are going to be able to pick 2 DVDs each. So we have 3 winners possible today. So make sure that you get your answer in there. You have a quite higher chance of winning today. So again, go over to Dawn's website. You can click on the well, I'm not sure if there is a link in the chat right now.
They can just go to dawnparrott.com.
Yeah, you can just go to dawnparrott.com, but I can put a link to the link that we have too.
You have cakefood.com/dawnparrott. Is that the one?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it'll get you there too. We actually created a link that will kind of take you over there. So
Perfect.
there's it's just for our tracking reasons is all. That's all. Okay, so yeah, I put a link up in the chat if you guys are interested, and then the email address I'll put it in there too. Okay. All right. So that's the email address and the website. So you can go over there. And of course, while you're on the website, you might as well go look at the stuff that's there because, again, the instructions are amazing. I mean, really, Dawn is a master, and you can't argue with that. She is amazing, and she teaches things that will be so useful to you in your business, and not just for competing. It really does have a place in
Yeah.
commercial cake decorating. I know that a lot of people, like I said, have pushed this aside and said, "Oh, piping is pointless when you're doing cakes for sale," because it takes too much time, blah blah blah. I completely disagree, and I feel like it needs to come back, and I think Don, agrees with me that way. So
Oh, yes.
let's make a comeback. Go buy the DVDs, buy the turntable. Let's get it going. I I am such a fan of piping, and I think that anybody who really appreciates cake and is willing to pay for cake will appreciate the piping too.
Yeah,
So those are the types of clients that you want to cater to anyway, right? Because they're going to appreciate the work that you do.
definitely.
You know, definitely what we want. In fact, it reminds me of a training that we did with Ted Scudi
Content.
and Adam Starkey. Yeah, Ted and Adam. It was all about gaining high-end clients. And I think these would go hand in hand, these 2 trainings. So I would highly recommend that you go watch their training too, because it
Yeah,
was really
you guys
good.
are great. They're fantastic.
They are. And they're really nice guys, super
Yeah.
nice. Okay, so I hope we've given you guys a little bit of time to go over and check things out. So I'm going to go over to our email now, and let's see, and find out who our winners could be. I need to refresh my page. So, and at the turntable, you guys. Oh my gosh, I cannot. I've got to get one. Hope you guys all get one too. It's amazing. And uh, Don, I hope you keep making these because they're
I
really
hope so. We're hoping to add some more things to them, and like even for other applications, and we have some more ideas for little ways to make it even better. But baby steps, baby steps. It's a big process to create something from scratch. It's been a really long year for my husband and I doing this. So it's I can't tell you how many prototypes we had that didn't work, and then my poor husband would be like, I'm like, no, that's not good enough. I don't like that. Do it this way. And he's like, I'm not changing it. And I'm like, yeah, you will. So, it comes from, you can't, like I tried to explain to him, you can't, I won't do something that's, like he kept wanting to do certain things in plastics. And I said, no, no plastics. I want wood, I want metal, I want things that are going to last. And so then, of course, that became a constant battle. And then once we did certain things, he's like, oh, now I see why you want it that way. And, or, because he doesn't decorate. So it's one thing to take an engineer's brain and take us, the crafty people, and try to make each other understand what we're both trying to say. And it took quite a bit to figure it out because I don't even know what number prototype it ended up being by the time we got one that I was happy with. So you can trust me in the fact that I played with it a lot to see, that it could basically stand up and it would do what I wanted it to do and what I'm saying it does. But I'm sure there's going to be lots of ways we can improve it and even make it better. But even with the things that I'm thinking of doing, they're going to be such minimal. Like it could be a different type of bracket that maybe like $10 or something. It's not going to be expensive. We're just trying to think of other ways for like a big thing, the 60-degree angle, the really sharp angle. That's really great for painters, for example. So I'm trying to come up with another way of a special clamp to hold stuff for painters and things for bracing to lay your arm on. So stuff like that. We're coming up with other areas to help people, especially people who have weak wrists. I'm trying to think of a way to create something that they could sit their hand on when they pipe. So things like that, that's just going to help make it better for everybody.
That's really cool. I think that these kinds of products are the best kinds of products, in my opinion, because this is taking from what we know, what works for us, and it's not, like you said, from just an engineer's mind of, oh, well, let's do this. I think that'll work. This is something tried and true. This is something that's really going to benefit you and work for you. I really, it definitely makes a big difference. Okay, so we have a bunch of emails. So we're going to go, give me 3 numbers. Let's go 1 through 20 because I don't want to count forever.
But if there's more than 20, it's not fair.
I know, I'm sorry.
Let's say 17.
17, okay. Let's go.
I'm going to make you count anyway.
All right, it looks like we have Annabelle Wilcom is our winner of like the big set. Okay, so you get all 6 DVDs.
Congratulations!
Yay! That's so awesome. So now you have the DVDs. You need to get the turntable so that you can really get this good. Okay, and then all right, let's pick another number. Maybe we'll go from the other direction so that we don't.
Number 3.
What's that?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay, we'll go number 3. 1, 2, 3. That would be Terry Demumbrum. I think I said that right. So there you go, Terry. Congratulations. You get to choose 2 DVDs of your choice, and Don will send those to you. And then one more number.
9.
9. Okay. Oh, okay. That would be Dee Thompson.
Hey,
so there you go. Congratulations, Dee. Awesome. Well, congratulations to the winners. For those of you that didn't win, go check out the DVDs and go check out absolutely check out the website. The digital version if you prefer digital, and forget the cake foo, and of course the turntable. I mean that's like that's it. That's the turntable. So turntable. And the instructions, definitely go check those out. When you're purchasing, coupon code CakeFoo will get you free shipping. Does the free shipping include international?
We'll probably do half on the international because it depends. Some of the internationals I can't do free on those because sometimes it's
yeah, I was gonna say that gets a little pricey.
We'll try to get the best discount we can. Free shipping in the U.S. is between 25 to 30, so we can give that same amount off whatever the international price is.
Okay, so $25 to $30 off of shipping to international.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's so cool that you will ship international because I know that it's really hard to get products to and from, places. So.
Yeah. It is. It's not that it's hard. It's expensive, and it's hard for the people buying it. I feel bad having to charge, but and I literally charge what the post office charges me. So.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
try to get the absolute best rates we can. We shop around to see who's giving the best rates and go with whatever the cheapest, like who's going to give us the best price.
Well, it's definitely worth it, though. I mean, even international, I would pay international fees to get one because
Thank you.
it's worth it. It's amazing. I have seen some of the old ones that were sold in the UK that aren't anymore. I think Kerry Griffiths works with one in his craftsy class, and I saw that and I was like, "Where'd you get that?" And then they don't sell them anymore, and then I was like, "Oh, okay." But then you came out with one. I'm like, yes.
Finally, that's exactly how I felt. I've been trying to get one of those forever and ever and ever, and you just can't find them. Very rarely does someone sell them, and as soon as they sell them, they're gone. There's like 10 people waiting for them. So
Yeah.
it was kind of one of those things, you either make one or you don't get one. So we got busy.
Good for you. I'm so glad that you have, your handicrafty selves to to get this. And yeah, definitely worth every penny. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and joining us. Again, sorry for the beginning. Of course, things like that happen sometimes. And yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this training. I see how piping really is something that everyone can do, and we need to start bringing it back into the cake industry. I know that it is making a comeback.
Yeah.
But let's add to it. Let's keep going. Let's keep that momentum going and keep working on this piping thing because it really is amazing. It shows the true art and talent of cake decorating, and it's not just throwing a mold on a cake. It's way more than that.
Exactly.
So, all right. Thank you again. Thank you so much, Dawn, for coming and
Thank
joining
you
us.
for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, congratulations on your win. Just 100 times over, congratulations. It's such a huge accomplishment.
Yeah,
So,
it's
and
still like that. It hasn't sunk in yet. I don't know where to go from here.
I know I've heard you say that a few times, like, I don't know what direction to take this.
No.
Because a win like that, it needs to propel you forward into something absolutely amazing. And it's hard to decide where to take that. And I know exactly where you're coming from. I know exactly where you're coming from. So, best of luck to you, Don. I hope that this turntable thing really does take off for you. I know that it's an amazing product, and I really do hope that it does well for you. And whatever else you decide to do.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we will see you guys all next week, and thanks again for joining us. And yeah,
Bye, everybody.
bye.